I wake up to the same old fight, chasing shadows in the night. Promises made, but I let them fade. Caught in the cycle, I'm feeling betrayed. Round and round, I'm losing ground. Trying to break free, but I can't see. These negative patterns are haunting me. Nights turn to days, I'm losing my way. Thought I found peace, but it's led me astray. Chasing the high, but it only brings pain. The more I run, the less I gain.
Hey everybody, hey, and welcome to another session of Tarika Say It Again. And today we're going to take a break on relationships as far as those romantic relationships. And I want to still deal with relationships because that's what Addictive Patterns is about. But we're going to deal with the parent-child relationship, or you might call it familial relationship, or the attachment relationship, where the bond between the child and the mother and the dynamics are established. More specifically, I want to talk about what's been here in the news most current. Now, there was just an incident out at a community event of Commissioner Mike. He was just having an event, and it's on his page as well as some other people posted it. A gang of teenagers jumped a young man. I saw a big commotion, and at the bottom of the group of kids was one young man that they all seemed to be jumping, kicking, punching, hitting, stomping. One young man at the bottom. I don't know what happened, but the commissioner as well as other people were simply pleading, telling parents to come get your kids. Call them right now to see where they are, what they're doing. Come get them because they were out of control. And I'm going to play this video right here.
What do teenagers actually like to do? I want you to take a look at this. It is a fight basically happening at a takeover, what I'm calling a teen takeover. This was in Orlando on Saturday. It was supposed to be a community event that had an adult flag football game, kids flag football, and adult and kids kickball, and it turned into this. Now, these teen takeovers have been popping up all over the place. We saw one out in Daytona where a promoter was telling everybody to come out to Daytona Beach. We saw one at Icon Park, and people are not happy that Orlando is turning into this because it's not a good look for us. It's not a good look for these kids, and actions like these can land these kids into a little bit of trouble. Now, Orlando Police Department was able to handle the situation here, but then these kids started to go over next door to Barnett Park. This was at the fairgrounds, Central Florida Fairgrounds, but they went over next door to Barnett Park where they continued fighting, and then the sheriff's office actually had to get involved here. Now, Commissioner Mike Scott is the commissioner for this area. He told me that they still plan to hold the same community event called P-Day next year, but with a lot more differences compared to this year. They're going to have added security. More chaperones are going to be required for these kids if they show up. Now, this, again, is supposed to be a free event for all people to come and enjoy. But the big question here is, what do teenagers actually like to do? I'm not far removed from the teenage years. I'm only 22, but, I get it. You don't really want to have to go to summer camp or do any of the things that your parents want you to do, but is this the solution?
As you can see from that video, it was very chaotic. But there's one other video that I want to show because this one here, it hits home. Because for those of you that know me, one of my jobs, I work at one of the local high schools. And this one was near and dear because there was a picture floating around literally just a few days ago with 5 out of the 7 students. I taught them when they was in 10th grade, and they are on track to graduate like in a week. I don't know what that looks like as far as if they are going to still award them their diploma. I would think that they would, but we definitely know that they won't be able to walk across the stage with their classmates. And for me as a parent, it would be so disheartening, disappointing, because you have family coming in to witness this accomplishment, to witness this milestone, to join in what's supposed to be a momentous occasion. And not only that, just the fact that I wouldn't be able to witness my child walking across that stage. That's something you don't get back. You don't get to turn back the hands of time. And I feel that because it was something I heard that took place about a month ago, I'm sure they did not know that it was going to come back to bite them like this. A month later, right before walking across the stage, something that you worked 13 years for to get that diploma. 13 years counting kindergarten. And now it's up in the air. I don't know all the details, but again, I see mug shots and an article write-up about it being 11 students to 1.
A 16-year-old boy attacked and beaten at a school bus stop. Now 11 Wekiva High School students are facing charges. Here's a look at 7 of those arrested. The rest of them are minors. And Fox 35's Alexis Clevenger is live in Ocoee, where that attack happened. So Alexis, police say this all started with a fight between 2 students.
And Luann, investigators say that fight lasted about a few seconds before things really escalated. They say that a group of boys came running out of cars that were parked behind that school bus and rushed that 16-year-old boy. An alleged violent ambush unfolded in this Ocoee neighborhood.
Yeah, my son had got jumped by a group of boys.
Ocoee police say as soon as a 16-year-old boy stepped off his bus, he was attacked by a group of 11 boys.
That day, when I say traumatized, I thought they was gonna kill that little boy.
Witnesses told officers the boys were kicking, punching, and stomping the victim as he laid on the ground helpless.
We screaming, hey, stop, break it up.
Investigators say the group of boys were all identified as students at Wekiva High School.
Yes, he know majority of them. Some of them he didn't know, but majority of them he knows.
According to arrest reports, the 16-year-old victim told officers he was having problems with another student at school. It goes on to say the student threatened him, telling him he would, quote, see him later. Investigators say the victim got off the bus. That student also got off the bus at the same stop, and that's when the fighting started. Police say Orange County Public Schools police and school resource officers were monitoring the incident closely due to threats of retaliatory incidents based on previous issues involving the same individuals. And now many of those students are facing charges of battery and rioting. Live in Ocoee, Alexis Clevenger, Fox 35 News.
No judgment here, because my experience with all the young men, they were very respectful to this day. They literally was, Miss Williams, you coming to our graduation? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be there. And now they not gonna be there. That's very disheartening. But one thing I want to mention, because one of the things I saw some comments from people, again, don't know the full story, but comments where there was an individual and they said, I bet you all of those students don't have a male in the household. Most of the time, that is the case. And you all know I'm always advocating for our kids, always telling parents, male or female, but this is directed at men. Get your households together, please. You don't have to be in the household to have a relationship with your child. Pick up the phone. Sit down. Talk with them. Go pick them up. Be present. That's key. Be present. You and the mama don't have to be together. Who cares? But be present in your child's life, because situations like this occur. And I'm going back to that because, yeah, most of them, their father don't live in the household. But I know one specifically in that lineup where the parents are still together. He saw and had both parents in the household. So I think, one, we need to check the facts before we go to speak on something, because that's not always the case. But moving on, talking to our parents who are raising teenagers. Listen, it requires more than just providing food, clothes, and a roof over their head. It is more to it. You have to actually parent. You have to actually be present. There was a time when corrections was a community effort. Y'all remember the times when the neighbor, they would correct, or they would call and be like, hey, I saw your son or I saw your daughter doing this. It was a community effort when you had trusted adults and they could lovingly redirect our kids. And the parents, they understood that accountability was part of their growth and development. My daddy say that all the time. It's a part of your growth and development. But somewhere along the way, it became quicker to defend our children publicly than to discipline them. I came from the era where you cut up, that's where your behind got tore up. That was the type of mother my mom had. Publicly, to discipline, to guide, and question them privately. Teenagers are navigating, y'all. Teenagers are navigating identity. They're trying to find out who they are. They are navigating peer pressure. They're trying to navigate relationships. All types of relationships. Friendship, romantic relationship, situationships. They're navigating this social media, because that's a major influence and pressure. And they're trying to navigate emotional highs and lows. Trying to figure that out and regulate those emotions. What to do with them when I'm rejected. What to do with them when somebody say they don't like me anymore. We cannot, parents, assume these babies automatically know right from wrong just because we've told them before. They need repeated conversations, real life examples, and situational awareness. Talk to them. Talk to them about peer pressure. Talk to them about unhealthy relationships and what that look like. Now, I know some of us, we are in those unhealthy relationships. But look around. Look at other examples. Get them involved in activities. What about attention-seeking behaviors? This is a big one, because I see this a lot of times in the classroom for no reason. Just acting out for no reason. And sometimes that's when I'll be like, baby, come here. Come. You need a hug. Come on. Come on. What about talking to them about substance abuse and what that looks like? Because a lot of these drugs and various things look like candy. What about talking to them about emotional dependency and the patterns that can quietly form when needs go unmet? You heard me. When those needs go unmet, what's happening? What's forming? And in addictive patterns, I discuss all the time how unhealthy cycles often begin with what is ignored, what's normalized, or simply left unaddressed, not dealt with. And many adult struggles, they started when? As a child. They started as teenage habits. They started as unhealed wounds that one talked about. Maybe a family secret, or repeated behaviors that no one interrupted, didn't break the cycle. So I love when people on social media, they put the various things where they talked about whether it was a trauma and how they broke that cycle. Because that's all addictive patterns and behaviors are. Generational, learned behavior, and some are DNA. So maybe check-ins. If not a daily check-in, a weekly check-in. Maybe putting them phones down a moment. We might be too far gone from that. But checking in with your child. How was your day? What happened that was different? Who said what? Create this safe environment or judgment-free zone where they feel okay to come and tell you what's going on or what may be their fear without feeling you're going to blow up on them. They know you're going to get mad, but not feeling that you're going to kill them. Discussing scenarios before they happen. That's that situational awareness. That's something I do because no one is perfect. And we as adults, we still make mistakes, right? So when I hear different things occur in the classrooms from your household, I'm going home and I'm talking to my daughter and I'm trying to ask her, have you experienced this before? Did this happen before? You heard about this before? I'm trying to talk about it, see where her head is, how she feel about it, if she's ever experienced it before. So if you could minimize some of your child mistakes, do it. Do your part as a parent. Example, what would you do if a friend offered you some drugs? If someone pressured you sexually, cyber bullied you and told you to send some inappropriate pictures to them or they was gonna blackmail you? We don't think about that. If you felt left out or rejected before, how did that make you feel? And I can go on and on and on and on. Simply, I'm saying have the conversations. Have those discussions. Monitor behavioral shifts. Check those out. Maybe a withdrawal. Always in those rooms with the doors closed. Secrecy. Attitude changing. Grades declining. Sudden friend changes or overdependence on validation, needing to be validated or affirmed. We need to allow healthy accountability from trusted adults, like those mentors. That's going back to what I say, getting them involved. Not always just keeping them cooped up in the house. Get them involved with the coaches, maybe after school programs or organizations teachers might have. Maybe family members. But key point, making sure they are a trusted adult. And then they also get to see different personalities, different standards, different viewpoints, different family dynamics. One last thing I want to leave you with, because I mentioned early on, as far as there was a time where it was a community effort. But now parents, they checking and they chastising the person that's trying to assist with their child behavior. Your child doesn't need your protection. They need your presence. Yes, your wisdom, your correction, and your consistency. I'm going to say it again. Your child doesn't need your protection. They need your presence, your wisdom, your correction, and your consistency. What we fail to address in adolescence can easily become the addictive pattern they spend their adulthood trying to break. You heard me. We have grown kids having temper tantrums, grown kids with irregulated emotions. I can go on, but I'm stopping here. Hopefully, you got something out of today's session. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Have a good one.